For more than 5 decades, Jackson Browne has been celebrated as one of America's most thoughtful and poetic singer-songwriters. Known for deeply personal lyrics and timeless songs like Running on Empty and Dr. My Eyes, he built a reputation as a voice of honesty and emotional reflection. But as conversations about his life and legacy continue, some fans have begun to describe his journey as a kind of double life. Not because of scandal, but because of the striking contrast between his public image and the quieter realities. Behind the scenes, on stage, Jackson Browne often appeared introspective yet confident, delivering performances filled with vulnerability and depth. His music spoke about love, loss, ambition, and the search for meaning. Audiences connected with the raw sincerity in his songwriting, feeling as though he was sharing pages from his personal diary. Yet, like many artists, the man behind the microphone carried complexities that were not always visible in the spotlight. The idea of a double life in Browne's story reflects the balance he maintained between fame and privacy. During the height of his success in the 1970s and 1980s, he was part of a music scene that attracted constant media attention. The California rock movement was not just about music. It became a cultural phenomenon. Despite this, Browne often kept significant parts of his personal world guarded, choosing to let the music speak louder than tabloid headlines. Behind the scenes, he was navigating the pressures that come with artistic success. Fame can bring opportunity, but it can also bring isolation. While fans saw sold-out tours and chart-topping albums, Browne was also managing personal relationships, creative expectations, and the emotional toll that often accompanies life on the road. The contrast between the polished performances and the private challenges created a dual reality, familiar to many public figures. Another dimension of this so-called double life was his strong commitment to activism. Jackson Browne has long been involved in social and environmental causes, supporting issues related to human rights, environmental protection, and social justice. For some casual fans who only knew him through radio hits, this side of his life may not have been immediately visible, yet advocacy became a central part of his identity. He used his platform to raise awareness, participate in benefit concerts, and speak openly about causes he believed in. Balancing commercial success with activism is not always simple. The music industry can encourage artists to avoid controversial topics in order to maintain broad appeal. Browne, however, chose to engage with the world beyond entertainment. This commitment sometimes placed him at the center of public debate, further highlighting the difference between the quiet songwriter image and the outspoken advocate he could also be. His personal life also carried moments of profound joy and deep sorrow. The loss of his first wife in the 1970s was a devastating event that shaped both his life and his music. Grief found its way into his songwriting, adding layers of emotion that listeners could feel even if they did not know the full story. While fans connected to the sadness in his lyrics, only those close to him understood the depth of what he was experiencing privately. Over time, Jackson Browne became known not only as a musician, but as a mentor and collaborator. He worked with numerous artists, contributing to a community that defined an era of American music. Yet even within that vibrant scene, he maintained a certain reserve. Interviews often revealed a thoughtful and measured personality, someone who preferred meaningful conversation over celebrity spectacle. The phrase, "no one knew until now," can sometimes exaggerate mystery, but in Browne's case, it speaks more to perspective than revelation. As audiences revisit his career with fresh eyes, they see how many layers were always present. The romantic ballads, the socially conscious anthems, the reflective acoustic performances all point to a multifaceted individual. What may have seemed like separate identities were actually parts of a whole. In recent years, as conversations about mental health and the pressures of fame have become more open, Browne's journey resonates in new ways. Artists of his generation often faced intense schedules and expectations without the kind of public dialogue about well-being that exists today. Maintaining composure in public while processing personal struggles in private was often the norm. That duality can look like a double life from the outside. Despite decades in the industry, Jackson Browne has continued to create music that feels authentic and grounded. His later work reflects maturity and perspective, addressing themes of resilience, responsibility, and hope. Rather than chasing trends, he has remained committed to his own artistic voice. This consistency suggests that the line between his public and private selves may not have been as divided as some assume. What truly defines his story is the music world has changed dramatically since his early days, yet his influence remains. Younger artists cite him as an inspiration, drawn to his lyrical depth and willingness to engage with real-world issues. Fans who have followed him for years see not a hidden life exposed, but a life lived with intention and complexity. If Jackson Browne lived a double life, It was the universal kind shared by many who stand in the spotlight. There is always the version the audience sees and the quieter version, shaped by family, reflection, and personal growth. In Browne's case, both sides contributed to the artistry that made him a lasting figure in American music. Today, as listeners revisit his catalog, they hear not just melodies, but the echoes of experience behind them. The thoughtful performer on stage and the private individual navigating life's challenges were never truly separate. They were intertwined, each informing the other. And perhaps that is the real story, not of secrecy, but of depth. Jackson Browne's life reminds us that even the most familiar voices can carry layers we only begin to appreciate with time.